Welcome, everyone. One of the best ways to prepare for the IELTS speaking test is to see it in action. That's exactly what we're doing today with this complete mock test from Spinta. As you listen, think about what the candidate does well and where they could improve. Afterwards, we'll compare notes with a full performance breakdown. Let's begin.
Good morning. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good morning, my name is Lina Ahmed. Lina is my given name and Ahmed is family name. You can call me Lina.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I am from a city called Izmir in Turkey. It is on the coast, and it's quite sunny most of the year. I moved to this city when I was baby, so I grew up there and I still feel very connected to it.
Right. Let's talk about your home. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I live in a small apartment on the third floor of an older building. It's not very big, but it's comfortable for me and my partner. We have 2 rooms, a kitchen and a little balcony, which I like because I keep plants there. The building is near a market, so it is easy to get fresh food.
How long have you lived there?
I have been lived here for 5 years. I have lived here for 5 years. When we first moved in, the place was a bit empty, but we slowly put furniture and pictures. It feels like home now.
What do you enjoy about your neighborhood?
What I enjoy most is the sense of community. There are small cafes where people know each other, and the park where I often go in the morning for a walk. Also, it is close to my workplace, so I can avoid long commuting. On weekends, we sometimes meet friends nearby, which is very convenient.
Okay, now let's talk about family. How many people are there in your family?
There are 5 people in my family. My parents, my 2 older sisters, and me. We are quite close, and we keep in touch even when we live in different cities. My parents live in the same town where I grew up, and my sisters live in other cities for their jobs.
Do you see them often?
I try to visit them every month, at least for a weekend. Sometimes busy schedules make it harder, but we always call each other. Family gatherings are important to us, and when we meet, we cook traditional food and talk a lot.
Right. Now about work or study. Are you working or studying at the moment?
I am working as a marketing coordinator at a small tech company. I do social media, content planning, and some event organization. I enjoy the variety, but it can be stressful when big launches are near. It gives me chance to be creative and learn new digital skills.
How long have you been doing that job?
I have been working in marketing for about 3 years. Before that, I studied communications at university. At first I did entry-level tasks like writing posts and scheduling. Then gradually I took more responsibility, and now I manage small campaigns.
What do you like most about your job?
I like that I can be creative and that the job is never exactly the same day to day. Also, I like working with people from different teams, because it helps me to understand business goals and to make better campaigns. Sometimes it is challenging, but those moments are the best for learning.
Okay, let's move on to hobbies. What do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I like reading, cooking, and going to the gym. I am really interested about music as well, and I go to small concerts when I can. Reading is my habit since childhood, and I read a wide range of books, but lately I prefer novels and essays about society.
How often do you read?
I read almost every evening for about 1 hour before bed. If I have more free time during weekend, I spend longer. I have been an avid reader since I was a child, and my mother used to take me to library every weekend. Let me correct that. I have been an avid reader since I was a child.
What kind of music do you like?
I like indie and alternative music mostly, but I also listen to jazz when I'm cooking because it relaxes me. Recently I discovered a local band and their live shows are very energetic, so I try to support local musicians when possible.
How has your hobby changed over time?
When I was younger, I read mostly fiction. But as I grew older, I started to choose books that make me think about society and my work. Music-wise, I used to follow mainstream pop, but now I explore niche genres and attend more live performances. The hobby became more intentional. I choose quality over quantity.
Right. Tell me about your daily routine. What is a typical weekday like for you?
A typical weekday starts with a short run or some stretching. Then I prepare coffee and check emails. I work from the office 3 days a week and remote 2 days. My mornings are for meetings and planning. Afternoons I focus on tasks like content creation. Evenings I go to gym and then cook dinner. I try to keep routine, but sometimes deadlines change the plan.
How do you manage stress during busy days?
I take short breaks, go for a walk, or practice breathing exercises. Also, talking with colleagues helps when things are difficult. If it is very busy, I try to prioritize tasks and delegate when possible. It is not always perfect, but these small habits help.
Okay. Finally, in this part, what are your plans for the future?
In the near future, I want to develop my skills in digital marketing and maybe take a course in analytics. Longer term, I'd like to work in a larger international company or start my own small creative agency. I also hope to travel more and learn another language. I think gaining more experience abroad would help my career.
Why would working abroad help you?
Working abroad would give different cultural perspective and new professional networks. It would challenge me to adapt to new work styles, and that usually improves problem-solving and communication skills. Also, living in a new place often makes you more independent.
Thank you. That is the end of part 1. Now I will give you a topic for part 2. Please describe a memorable meal you have had. You should say what the meal was, where and when you had it, who you were with, and explain why it was memorable. You have 1 minute to prepare, and then please speak for up to 2 minutes.
Okay. I am ready. The most memorable meal I had was a family dinner 2 years ago, when my grandmother came to visit after many months. It was at my parents' house in Izmir on a warm evening, and we all gathered in the garden. My grandmother cooked a traditional dish that she had not made since before the pandemic, a slow-cooked lamb with vegetables and special rice. The smell was very strong and comforting, and the table was full of salads, bread and desserts she had prepared. I was with my parents, my 2 sisters and some close cousins. The reason it was memorable is not only because of the food, but because the whole family was together after a long time apart. We talked a lot about old stories, sang some songs, and my grandmother told us family recipes. There was a moment when she stood up and taught my youngest cousin how to knead dough in the proper way, and everyone laughed. For me it was emotional because my grandmother is getting older, and seeing her active and happy made me appreciate small family moments. After dinner we stayed late and drank tea under the trees. It felt like we made a small memory that will last for a long time. I think the meal stands out because it combined great food, family tradition, and a sense of reconnection that was very important to me.
What dishes did your grandmother make that evening?
She made the lamb as main dish, a tangy tomato and cucumber salad with herbs, stuffed grape leaves that she always rolls by hand, and a semolina cake for dessert. Her stuffed grape leaves are special because she uses a lemony sauce and slow cooking, so they become soft and full of flavor.
Why do you think family meals are important?
Family meals are important because they create chance to connect and share daily life. In busy times, it is easy to miss personal conversations. But when you sit together, you listen to each other and remember your roots. Also, recipes and food carry cultural memory, so sharing meals helps to keep traditions alive.
Okay, that is the end of part 2. Now we will discuss some questions related to family meals and traditions. Do you think traditional foods are changing in your country?
Yes, I think traditional foods are changing because of fast-paced life and international influences. Younger generations sometimes prefer quicker or westernized versions of dishes, and people use modern appliances which change cooking methods. Also, restaurants adapt recipes for tourists which can make dishes different to original home cooking. However, many families still keep core traditions for celebrations.
How do restaurants affect traditional cuisine?
Restaurants often reinterpret traditional cuisine to fit customers' tastes or to create novelty. That can be good because it brings attention to local food, but it can also dilute authenticity when ingredients or techniques are simplified. For example, a classic stew might be served with different sauces in a trendy place, which changes its character.
Do you think younger people prefer modern food over traditional food?
Some younger people prefer modern or international food because it is fashionable and convenient, but many still appreciate traditional food, especially at family events. Social media revived interest in home cooking for some. People share recipes and rediscover older dishes. So preferences are mixed and depend on lifestyle.
Interesting. How important are meals in building social relationships?
Meals play a big role. Sharing food removes barriers and encourages conversation. In professional settings, lunch meetings create informal spaces to build trust. In personal life, meals mark celebrations and cement relationships. Food is a universal language in that way.
Right, now some broader questions about culture and change. How does migration affect food culture?
Migration brings new ingredients and cooking styles, which enrich food culture. Immigrants introduce their cuisine to local people, creating fusion dishes and new tastes. At the same time, migrants might adapt their recipes using available ingredients, which leads to regional variations. Over time, this exchange broadens everyone's palate.
Do you think globalization is making food culture the same everywhere?
Globalization does create some uniformity, because multinational chains and packaged foods spread widely. But at the same time, people value authenticity and local producers, so there is a counter-movement that preserves regional differences. I think globalization mixes things rather than erases identity completely.
What role does advertising play in food choices?
Advertising influences choices a lot by framing certain foods as convenient or desirable. It can encourage unhealthy habits by promoting processed foods, especially to children. But advertising can also highlight local artisans and healthy options when done responsibly. Consumers should be critical of marketing messages.
How might technology change how we eat in the future?
Technology could change many aspects like personalized nutrition, food delivery algorithms, and lab-grown proteins. Smart kitchens might help people cook better with guided instructions. Delivery apps already change how we order food, and that likely will continue with drones or automated kitchens.
Do you think cooking skills are important for young people today?
Yes, I think cooking skills are important because they affect health, budget, and cultural continuity. Knowing how to cook simple meals helps independence and makes it easier to eat healthily. Also, cooking can be creative and social, so it's more than just practical skill.
Okay. Sorry, one more question. How can communities encourage younger generations to learn traditional recipes?
Communities can organize workshops, school programs, and local festivals where elders teach recipes. Digital archives of family recipes or video tutorials can also help. Creating spaces where younger people feel proud of their food heritage encourages them to learn and adapt traditions in modern ways.
Thank you. That is the end of part 3 in the speaking test. I see. I will stop the recording now.
The candidate demonstrated Band 6 level performance. Notable grammatical errors included saying, "I have been lived here for 5 years," when it should be, "I have lived here for 5 years." Saying, "I am very interested about music," when it should be, "I am very interested in music." And saying, "I have been an avid reader since I was child," when it should be, "I have been an avid reader since I was a child." These errors occurred occasionally throughout the test, and while they appeared in several responses, they did not prevent understanding. Fluency was generally good with natural flow, but there were hesitations and minor self-corrections which showed an ability to monitor language. Vocabulary range was adequate for most topics, and the candidate used descriptive words like energetic and intentional, though sometimes word choice was imprecise or informal. Grammatically, the candidate showed strength in producing connected discourse and using a range of tenses, but weaknesses were systematic article omission and occasional tense mixing in longer sentences. This performance aligns with a band 6.5 because speech was coherent and often detailed, pronunciation was clear, and the candidate managed discourse well, yet there were repeated inaccuracies and occasional awkward collocations that limited accuracy. What prevented a higher score were the recurring grammatical slips, a few incorrect prepositions and occasional hesitations that interrupted smooth delivery. To reach the next band level, the candidate should focus on consistent use of articles and prepositions, practice complex sentence structures to avoid tense mixing, and build range of precise vocabulary for abstract topics. Thank you for practicing with this IELTS speaking mock test. Visit Spinta for more comprehensive mock tests and personalized feedback to boost your IELTS score.